That's how dangerous this stuff is. That's how dangerous this stuff is. That's why I gotta be extremely careful with this. Haha. In 2022, it says right here that I like him. It only takes computer to be left unattended, and you got a serious problems before you even know you have serious problems. In 2023, I supposedly liked James Cleverly. What the fuck would I like him for? This was a violent thug, so I had no reason to do that. And he was involved in a brainwash. This criminal here listed himself during MKultra as somebody who hijacked my Facebook page. This guy right there, James Cleverly, this one. No, I was not hijacked in 2000 since 2000 and end of the 2020. So if I was not hijacked since end of the 2020, and I bet he did not even have the page in 2014. And you come up with a statement that he hijacked your Facebook account in 2014 through the police, you're as good as dead. You're as good as dead. The other one is the Snowden. That's how dangerous this stuff is. This is a terrorist, this guy. Somebody gets a hold of your computer and it only takes seconds to squeeze on the button. And all the past pertaining to the brainwash during MKultra is now being confirmed. They're only waiting for you to come out and make the statement that, in fact, he hijacked the computer from you in 2014 through the police, that he liked himself inside of the house. That's all it takes. And you're listed as a schizophrenic. That's how that stuff is done. Another individual is this Snowden. If I really did that stuff, then that was just really. No, I did not. She still must be it. She still must be listed because I did not. She still must be it. She still must be. She still must be listed as a. She still has got to be listed as a like. That's the one right here. Ann Snowden. Crossman. Would you go like this? Still has got to be listed as somebody I follow. And this is the weirdest page yet, because it doesn't have a like or unlike or anything like this. I am just... this says 0 people follow this. How can this be a 0 people? How can this be a 0 people? How could this be a 0 people? Explain to me this. I'm actually even afraid to do anything about this stuff, because it's so authentic that it demonstrates not only what I told you about the James Cleverly and how he entered. It was the same thing with the Schule ohne Rassismus, Gymnasium Hückelhoven. The same thing. All these pages you see, all through police. And there's more pages. I unlike them. But this is completely hacked Facebook account. Through the police, through the people that were coming inside of the home here in the Novo Mesto, from all over the world, and even through the Facebook. It's totally hacked. It doesn't have nothing to do with the reality. This is why. This is what I'm trying to say. If I would say that James Cleverly, which he brainwashed me in 2014, that he hijacked my Facebook account. It was actually 2013, 2014. The psychiatrist with the police, he was mad, he raged, he's gonna fuck me and I don't know what. If I would say that he entered the house, which was a frequent, ordinary, completely ordinary procedure it was, and that he liked himself on my computer, or that he was using a police to like him, as was a brainwash. It was such a brainwash, they indirectly engaged. They indirectly engaged in front of me. There was many others who did this. And demanded from me to acknowledge there would be a police officer, investigator from the Novo Mesto police station, that on his behalf will use my computer and just check himself as a like under my Facebook account. They were using my Facebook accounts. They were using, during MKultra, they were stealing the passwords. They were absolutely, police was just copy-paste hard drives. Absolutely all the passwords, absolutely everything. These people can kill you, and your Facebook account is going to be still operated in your YouTube and blog and everything for many years to come without you even knowing about, without people even understanding, knowing what the fuck is going on. This is how they operated. It's a terrorism. It's a terrorist. It's not a police officer. It's a terrorism. Bunch of terrorists, basically. And it goes likewise for these politicians. Many of these politicians, if not all of them, do this kind of stuff. So they label you as a paranoid schizophrenic, then they enter inside of your home and they do crazy stuff like this. Like this lady here, Ann Snowden, she suggested me that from the police in 2010 that she gestured for the police officer to check her out, that's going to be listed under my account as someone on a Facebook account, as someone that I liked. My God, I don't even fucking know this lady, Ann Snowden. I know her only from MKultra, that she was involved in. But in her case, she actually provided, I don't know how she did this stuff, because she must have exceptionally strong connections with Facebook people, and she really did this on my behalf, because look at it. There is 0 people who follow this, yet she is listed under my account as somebody who I follow. And on top of that, she opened the page barely in 2013, look. And in 2013 is when 2012 I was thrown in a psychiatric hospital. 2012 and 2013. And in 2015. Or to say 2014 and 2015. That's basically for several years. And so I have no idea what kind of rule this is by the Facebook, but this is basically how they were doing this stuff. I have no idea how they do this stuff. In my opinion, and this sort of shows that, well, if you say that you opened the account in 2010, you must be paranoid or schizophrenic. If you come up with a statement that is there like anything else pertaining to this page that I could come up and be seen as crazy? I mean, this is the real deal. This is how they do this stuff. This is how they get the proofs about people being mentally ill. Is this a proof of your being mentally ill? Is it a proof of your being mentally ill if you go to Alibaba.com and you purchase the product and you pay for 2 products $19? This just happened to me recently. You pay, it displays that you pay for 2 products $19, and then the statement, electronic statement, is sent to your Gmail account that you purchased only 1 product and you only received 1 product, and it's also listed as a transaction that you only purchased 1 product for $19. This is actually reality. It happened to me. The internet is, you don't see really. It is what I was told by the seller it's going to be the case, by the Chinese seller that's going to be the case. The internet is something. She actually even sent me the item that was involved in MKultra because he knew they're going to do this kind of stuff to me so that I could go and request the money returned from him. This is how fucked up this stuff is. I didn't put the video on the internet yet. So he was not the one who did this. It was actually Alibaba that had a contract with the Slovenian police to do this stuff. Alibaba, AliExpress, and eBay, the Chinese sellers that were coming here in our house, they were using the products with the police, with the Slovenian police, for torture purposes. Then promising me how I'm going to brainwash me on fucked up products I would get when I would order from China. They would take these products back to China together with them and would have them stored at AliExpress, Alibaba, at certain warehouses that basically awaited dispatch for these items from whatever parts of China. So that when you would go to the internet and you would order, you would get exactly the fucked up items that would then arrive at home, totally based on MKultra scenarios. This is how fucked up this stuff is. This is MKultra. MKultra has got a lot of meanings. It's not a definition. It's not really a brainwash. It's got a lot of... MKultra, I could say, is a gaslighting. It's a lot of things. It's poisoning. It's spine breaking. It's worse than gaslighting, with somebody whispering in your ears during MKultra, whether you're walking on the street, whether you're or terrorizing you, or death threatening you, or you're inside of your home, or lunacies that would never ever cross your mind. Yet it's the stuff that they do to you, I don't know how you say znoriavania. It's not even gaslighting. It's not making somebody insane. But creating the ideas in your head that otherwise under no circumstances would come anywhere even remotely in your head. And now you're dealing with a clusterfuck, not only with your problems, but you're dealing with all kinds of clusterfuck that otherwise you would not even have a second thought about ever. Any kind of thought about. First thought, whatever, I probably did not express myself correctly, something that you would never ever consider. And you reject it and so on. This is what MKultra is. This is what MKultra is. That's what MKultra is. And this isn't thing of the politicians. That politicians only would do this stuff. Like pertaining to my case. It's definitely domestic, and it's regional, domestic, and even global bullying, harassment, intimidation, organized crime, extermination procedure is what it is. It's a highway of death. For which politicians that do this stuff, if I demonstrated this animal right here. So this is interesting here with the Ann Crossman, right? I think it's interesting. This is an animal who did this damage on behalf of Milan Kucan, Yugoslav communists, Serbian communists, Russian communists, and he had a collaborator with him, and his collaborator was Janez Janša. At the end, what they do is they piss on you by gesturing that, look at this stuff here. This guy, look at what this guy is saying. This animal, this murderous animal that you were able to see all over the place is gesturing he's got a doctoral title. He is gesturing that people should sign the petition against the political police. This is an animal who enforced genocide against me practically since my birth. He's about 6 years older than I am. And he was used as a baby of Milan Kucan.
Da da svoj podpis za referendum proti. Kako ustavimo Janeza Janšo?
How do we stop Janez Janša? But it's funny because he negotiated this stuff with the Janez Janša during MKultra. It will not allow me to see this video. Let's do it again. How do we stop Janez Janša? Well, we signed the petition against the political police. Wow. This guy is saying to sign the petition against the political police. Really? That is sick. That is sick. It's not only the thing of the politicians, but it's a national disgrace. Slovenia is a shithole. Alpine Serbs shithole is what this is. With a Russian flag shithole that sits inside of the European Union and at the United Nations. And he's doing stuff like this. And he's pulling behind the entire world into it. They keep interrupting, so I'm gonna play you.
Da svoj podpis za referendum proti politični policiji. To bo glas z demokracijo. Slovenija je varna in stabilna država in taka naj tudi ostane.
He claims that Slovenia is a safe country and it should also stay this way, that people should sign
Varna
the
in stabilna
petition,
država in taka
that people should just stay the petition so that Slovenia can stay as safe.
Janeza Janšo. Kako ustavimo Janeza Janšo? Zdaj imamo končno vsak od nas priložnost, da da svoj podpis za referendum proti politični policiji.
So everybody's got a chance now to sign in Slovenia a petition against a political police. Political police. It's a referendum. Listen to this shit. I mean, it is stuff that is beyond sick. Wow. Why do they keep interrupting this stuff? Wow. This is also sick. Let's do it again. Wow. What's going on here with this stuff here? What the fuck is going on with this garbage here? I have not seen shit like this yet. Not a video, not a... I am right at the top of it.
Janeza Janšo. Zdaj imamo končno vsak od nas priložnost, da da svoj podpis za referendum proti politični policiji. To bo glas z demokracijo. Slovenija je varna in stabilna država.
Slovenia is a stable and safe country. No, Slovenia is safe and stable country is what this animal says. And you were able to see this animal throughout the entire world.
Kako ustavimo Janeza Janšo? Zdaj imamo končno vsak od nas priložnost, da da svoj podpis za referendum proti politični policiji. To bo glas z demokracijo. Slovenija je varna in stabilna država. In taka naj tudi ostane.
He was doing his best to get me killed for the last few years. Janez Janša was the one who gave him the power in 2022, together with Aleš Hojs, with Lojze Peterle, with Dmitry Rupa, a whole bunch of this, supposedly his enemies, who threatened me that if I would talk against their involvement in genocide, the only thing they would do is they would handle him a power. This is the way it was. This is the way it was. And during MKultra, they threatened how my father is going to be killed after they're going to hand him a power and this and that. This is how they do it. Now, you, as a human being, should go and you should be picking up between him, between the guy who he is gesturing people should sign the referendum against, so there would not be, in a parenthesis, political police, and you should also believe the people that are rotten to the core, the Slovenian people. This is how they operate, basically. That's how they designate themselves. When it comes to the computer, the interactive, whatever you see on the internet, the stuff, this is not about whether it is manipulated, how they manipulate. They literally were coming here to do just like I demonstrated you under the case of James Cleverly. James Cleverly was obsessed with the idea to get me killed before I was thrown in a psychiatric hospital in 2012. But in 2013, he started to insist, brainwash, on how he hijacked my Facebook page. And I was doing the same like a bunch of other people. Coming inside of our house and was using literally police officers to gesture them, yeah, just go ahead and just check mark. The way they do this stuff, they come in front of you with the police and they talk to you and they say, yeah, it's me, that's James Cleverly. You just want to go and you want to check me out. I'm here for you, this and that. You must not do this. You must not do that. You must blah, 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 blah. The best thing would be you marry black lady. The best would be that you become a Muslim, the best would be that you, I don't know what. This is just the way they do it. That's how this stuff is done. As a matter of fact, you, as a police officer from Slovenia, in a parenthesis, police officer, a garbage sitting right next to you, you may just want to go and check that mark for me, gesturing to him. And he was not the only one. It was a bunch of them that were doing this kind of stuff. Just check that out for me. Just check mark that. Or I'm going to do it myself. So this is a paranoia, schizophrenia. They look for you to come up on the internet and say, oh my God, James Cleverly was inside of my home. And he checkmarked himself as, under my Facebook account as somebody that I like and this and that. This was a frequent factor. It didn't only involve James Cleverly. It involved a bunch of other violent thugs behind whom British royals were hiding themselves, behind whom, well, the British royals who hired a psychiatrist to get me killed for them. A Central Intelligence Agency who hired Slovenia, who went on through the Slovenian police together with British royals to get me killed. Berlin, basically Germans who were hiding themselves behind this kind of issues to cut my throat, basically, because they had to be seen as friends, they had to be seen as allies, as supporters. That's how they do it. They have a different way. In a foreign country, when they're with a foreign country, with a foreign system, they adopted exactly this type of, exactly what I explained to you. Ursula von der Leyen, European Union apparatus adopted to exactly what I told you about in this video. This is how they do this stuff. Muslims are not my problem. Black people are not my problem. But, I mean, do you understand the meaning here? Do you understand the point? You shouldn't be thinking about whether the black people or Muslim people are my problem. You, as a Muslim and as a black individual, should take the side of the truth. I'm not going to say because it affects everybody. It might not, because you might be a racist. Most of you are racists. Anyways, you come here and I don't even blame you because of what's going on here. You turn into a racist. And I don't blame you for it. I don't even blame the politicians that are weak so much. They allow you to come here. Because it goes hand in hand with one another. This hatred politics, bigotry that goes on, it covers the fingers to one another. It pays them off. Today, as a politician, you don't even have to use your own people to get the person killed. You can already go ahead all through its necessary certain circle so the person turns against his own environment. You can go ahead, you can import the workers, all kinds of people from all around the world, and you bring them to a certain house to murder individual through exactly as I described on my blog was done. Because all of these people depend on you as a politician, or as a royalty, I should say. You depend on your royalty and you do exactly the stuff they are hiding behind you for no one actually to see what's going on, how it's done. All through, when it comes to the ethics, it should concern you. Because the politicians that do the stuff, your politicians, whatever country you're coming from, to do the stuff like this to a person in his home. Or when the person is delivered to your country so that you do bad stuff to him. You kill him, you murder individual through trauma, cardiovascular, sleep deprivation, burnout procedures. You murder individual like this. Loading him with the psychiatric drugs. You murder people like this. It's a highway of death. Your politicians, your own politicians, wherever you're coming from, whether that be Philippines or that be whatever country in the world, they are not really representing your interests. They're representing your financial interests, the stuff that you need to have it done. But as far as the human ethics, you are actually murdering the people who one day, as a result of them being murdered, there will be consequences, the same kind of consequences against you. It's a karma, basically. What goes around comes around, and it's always a certain class of the people, certain portion of the population that profits from within. A political current that leads the country is the one that profits from within. A certain interest that they get realized through your corruption, through your crime. This is necessary to call for what it is. Well, this is a big politician. He's being pushed forward by the British Royals, so everything is going fantastic. They have a mechanism that is using all sorts of politicians, not only this one. You have another one, it's a Farage, and you have another one, Boris Johnson and David Cameron and so on. You have a bunch of spectrum of this, but the entire British Parliament was involved in this stuff since I was born. It's stupid to talk about which politician when there was a million of British involved in this case alone. So I hope that I gave you a little bit idea about what goes on, what's going on, the stuff they do to people, with hope that people are going to come forward and make crazy statements, actually this is just Anne Snowden. This is just that's actually a really helpful stuff that she provided for me. I already unliked the enormous number of these pages because it's just something I don't need. I am glad that I did sign this one here. This year I probably did it, and I must have probably liked also this one here. But when you're dealing with these Facebook pages, be careful with this stuff, because when you like something, this I have to look from up closer. When you like something, when you like a certain page, there is a lot of filthy stuff they do to you, to the people, that might have nothing to do with you. In 2017, I was in Belarus. That's a Western Siberian what? This is a super highly unlikely that I like this page. This most likely is the page that was liked by this girl herself, basically. Yeah, I believe there was also people that they will come inside of the house and they just checkmark themselves as a like. So there was all kinds of girls involved in it. Who knows? Maybe I even liked her during MKUltra. I don't know. I would have to look into it. Maybe I asked her to do even this kind of stuff. I don't know. This isn't really the main preoccupation. A girl that likes himself on my Facebook page. This really is not my concern. I am just saying that also was the pages like this that appeared on my Facebook that I had nothing to do with it. I have no idea about this James Cleverly. How did he climb onto my like list? I really do not understand. I don't get it, because this was a violent person. He was a really violent person, and sometimes in 2017, when I started to produce proofs about MKUltra, he changed into a different person. He would have me I saw the news the other day about some clinic and stuff like that in 2019 to cure the people, and gestured that this is good, this is where I'm going to be cured, in Britain, in London, whatever, and that kind of stuff. That's a big improvement for community and stuff like this. I saw that on a British media. Under his news, he changed because he realized that it won't be so easy to just delete me. I became fiasco for these people. I became a liability for which you no longer knew whether I'm actually going to make it out alive with truth in my hand. When a person starts to talk about MKUltra and pulls out the proofs, and you can't refute him anymore because everything he states is legitimate, just the way it was, you become a huge liability for these people. You become a trouble, serious trouble. They become afraid of you. They change. Some do it. Some change. Some, they change, but at the same time, they want to whack you. They don't give up on their original plan, and that's basically is to kill you at whatever it takes. They tortured me all the way to 2020, all the way to the end of the 2020, when Slovenian police was hijacking me from and Belarus, together with the Russian KGB, with Polish Morawiecki, Kaczynski, I should say, Andrzej Duda, Lech Walesa, and all these politicians, with the Polish police, Slovakian police, and so on. When they were doing this kind of stuff, they didn't stop loading me with the psychiatric drugs, which Slovenes started to push down my throat in 2012. During the hijackings, regardless of it, they just loaded me with the psychiatric drugs. Even that I escaped abroad to another country, far away from Slovenian psychiatry, Slovenian police continued to push down my throat psychiatric drugs from Psychiatric Hospital Ljubljana Polje. So this is like exceptionally fucked up garbage, this so-called MKUltra, what MKUltra is. MKUltra has got a lot of meanings. There's one meaning that MKUltra doesn't have. If I remind of Slovenian animal by the name Andrej Štefanić from Novo Mesto police station, who celebrated himself in 2024, he gestured that MKUltra is a telepathy. There's one thing that is not MKUltra. MKUltra is not a telepathy. Hardly is even brainwash. It's incitement into lunacy. In stuff that you never ever would even consider in life, mostly. Stuff that you don't want to have nothing to do with it. I was preoccupied throughout my life with a job search, with work, earning money, and they were preoccupied with creation of the problem within the society in me. They wanted a dissident, they wanted a person to bother himself with issues that does not really concern him. These are absolute animals. And it is thanks to you people that you like this kind of entertainers. I don't know what you believe, but in democracy you don't believe when you support politicians. This is not politicians, they're fucking animals. Why don't you go, James Cleverly, to work inside of the psychiatric hospital as a psychiatrist? Come on, man. You don't need no fucking degree. You dress a white coat, whatever. You dress yourself in white. You grab some machine over there for electroshocks and load people with medications and brain burn them and fuck them and destroy them and kill them. Butcher them. You're going to have more hands-on. It's going to be more directly. You don't have to be hiding. For the psychiatrist, as a politician, posing like psychiatric exhibitionist in a political suit to the victims, basically. Depriving them, I'm not going to even say of hope, but the reason to be alive. You fucking murderous animals, and you do this in my case for no less than 54 years. This is the truth about your Western democracies, NATO, European Union, and everything else. Multiculturalism absolutely is terrorism. Multiculturalism absolutely is a terrorism. But it's not in a way that you people see it. The one hiding behind the multiculturalism, you would be surprised. It's a tool of death. Now think about who needs tool of death more than anybody within the society. And you will understand the real problem behind one. But yet the people, when it comes to the multiculturalism, you're even paid to go and do violence on the streets rather than to advocate people like myself. You are tutored, your leaders that do violence on the streets against multiculturalism. They're paid by the same people who create multiculturalism to not see, but for you as their supporter, for you not to see people like myself. For you basically to reject the truth. And through some kind of schizophrenia way, continue your fight against something that you actually have no control or ability or chance to win over or alter in any way. And it is the only way, the only hand that is being offered to the people from outside of Europe, to the people from the third world, immigrants that come here to make money, to improve their lives, to steal a piece of bread from you, to rob you of your home or your wife or whatever the case might be, or maybe rape your girl or whatever it is that they are up to. It is just as simple as this. Call it for what it is. I know it's unpleasant to hear, but this is the truth. Multiculturalism is a terrorism, and that's the bottom line. As a victim of MKultra, they want you to take the sides. Before that, what they do is they want to throw you under the tank threats and turn you into something that you have no connection to. It's a sickness, it's an illness, and it's spreading like an illness, like a sickness. It is actually the worst illness there is. Multiculturalism is actually worse than a cancer. Multiculturalism is a sickness, an illness that is a political type of sickness, a political type of illness. It's the certain people that profit from within. Whether you like it or not, they profit.
Janšo. Zdaj imamo končno vsak od nas priložnost, da da svoj podpis za referendum proti politični policiji. To bo glas z demokracijo, Slovenija je varna in stabilna država in taka naj tudi ostane.
It automatically stops the audio. What else can I say? Thanks for watching this video. Oh, multiculturalism can also be beautiful if it's mutual. If it's based on a mutual respect. But what is that anyways? What the fuck is mutual respect? Multiculturalism is a terrorism that is based on lies, maliciousness. It's based on hypocrisy, double dealing, backstabbing. It involves the people that come from somewhere else, and these people have to, whether they like it or not, they have to claim your place. That means they have to exterminate you for them to be inside of your space. This is just the way it operates. It's beneficial. It's beneficial for the political systems because they are trying to spread their agenda onto foreign territories. They need people from whatever countries come in their country, for politicians, for their politicians from wherever they come, to see themselves in a system where you go into. It's a sickness, it's a disease, it's an evil, it's an absolute evil. It's an absolute evil. The truth is that regardless of how respectful as an immigrant you are, you don't stand the chance if you're not part of this criminal current, if you're not part of this criminal network. I was as respectful as anybody could be in the United States of America, actually throughout the United States of America. I was as respectful as one possibly could be when I traveled to Poland and Slovakia, and before that to Sweden and to Norway and to Germany or wherever the fuck I went. I was as respectful as anybody possibly can be respectful. You understand? Toward the natives. In Belarus, I actually even volunteered myself for a Belarus army, whether there should be a need to defend Belarus. I was as fucking respectful as anybody could possibly be respectful. It isn't about you being respectful as an immigrant. It's about being part of this mental illness, whether you like it or not. Part of this political garbage. Organized crime, whether you like it or not. Because if you're not, as well as mine, it's better for you to travel wherever you came from. They cut your throat. And they don't cut your throat through domestic politicians, but domestic politicians through agreement with the politicians from your own country. That's a multiculturalism. Don't teach me about fucking multiculturalism because I know way too much about multiculturalism. I know what multiculturalism is. Nobody can teach me about what multiculturalism is. It's a terrorism. It's a sickness worse than a cancer. When it comes to multiculturalism, I want to be very, very detailed about this experience of mine, hands-on, genocide, experiencing one as a top victim, MKultra victim, with by far the most extensive experience anybody ever had in the history of the world. Through MKultra eyes of MKultra. When it comes to the black people, at least black women are willing to commit themselves, and blacks, they're willing to give you as a wives, their daughters, well, the husbands are not going to give you, obviously, their wives. Is the same thing with Latinos. Latinos will also do this. Is Not exactly the same thing with the Asians, but yeah, in many cases it was. But when it comes to the Russians, it's not like this. Russians demanded me dead. And then there is another group that also demanded me dead. They were using women, Russian women, and Jews. Jews were using Jewish women to do exactly the same thing. It's exactly the same kind of group like the Russians, the same thing. To tease you, to entertain you, to get the game going, to kill you, to torture you, to get you killed, literally. It's a big difference between this multicultural stuff that applies to somebody subjected to MKUltra. Russians and Jews were in it only for one thing, and that's basically to get me killed. I thought I shared this with you because it's a hands-on experience. This is all multiculturalism. It all concerns multiculturalism. There is a big difference, huge difference between this racial, ethnicities, races, and stuff. Like I said, multiculturalism is okay if it's based on a mutual respect, but all in all, when it comes to multiculturalism is a sickness, it's an illness, and it's worse than a cancer. It's, as I mentioned to you, when it comes to spreading itself onto other people, Jew and Russian would not want you to have any female, whether that be black or Hispanic or whatever that would be. Their primary concern is to contain you, to get you killed, make you disappear. That's their primary goal. When it comes to blacks, their primary goal is to infect with multiculturalism as many people as possible. Basically, fuck until there is no white person left in this world. It's a different type of sickness. Every one of these groups, they have a different type of sickness. For if Jews and Russians are any different in that same aspect from, let's say, blacks. The Hispanics, it's a different story. Asian, it's a different story. This is more like based on mutual attraction type of stuff. It's very different from what I explained to you from these issues. I know multiculturalism to a last millimeter of it. I know it. I dealt with it for no less than 54 years. I know every millimeter of it. When it comes to Arabs and Muslims, the same thing. Arabs and Muslims, the same like Asians or Latinos. It's all women, females, they would. It's all mutual attraction based. It's totally different. These are each one of these is a totally different category from one another. This isn't the video against black people or Muslim people, whatever. This is just to stress what most of the people even know, nobody dares to talk about.
Za referendum proti politični policiji. To bo glas z demokracijo, Slovenija je varna in stabilna država in taka naj tudi ostane. Janeza Janšo. Zdaj imamo končno vsak od nas priložnost, da da svoj podpis za referendum proti politični policiji. To bo glas z demokracijo, Slovenija je varna in stabilna država in taka naj tudi ostane.
Je. Jo kaj Kurz gleda. I really want to check all this stuff. I gotta find out what the fuck is going on here with this stuff here. Who the fuck is the Pietro Monaco? This one here, we're just gonna leave this Ann Crossman and stuff. And that's wild. That's like totally wild. High-tech CNC machine, and what the fuck is that? This is what was on my like list, and let me see to make sure. Yes, I already unliked this stuff. Yeah, Facebook is gonna have to provide a whole list of the stuff that I liked and when and this and that. Associazione Amici di Consono. Also, all this stuff was on a like list. Much of it already got rid of it. Spirit of Africa, all this stuff was on my like list. And many more I already closed down, got rid of it. Shauna Ferrigno, I did that. Neona Progrosa, I did this. I did all this stuff. That's the stuff I did it. I did this do-it-yourself. Nah, people don't even stay in contact with me and stuff. You write them and it's actually they don't even keep in touch with you and stuff. I think I did this, yep. It's just not necessary when you're in a situation like this. It's not necessary for you to do that. This here, the only thing we do is we do this thing here. I remember this girl, yes, everything but this. This is a Russian. It's as simple as this. We're extremely not. This here was actually recommended by what's her name, Maria, the Russian from Putin speech lady. A Kremlin lady. Speaker Maria Zakharova. This was recommended by Maria Zakharova, this girl. That's what this was. This girl was involved as a teenager already. This girl was involved since sometimes in 2010. I don't know how old she was. This was opened the account in 2017. Finally, let's do this. It was a child when she was involved, and the one who involved her was Maria Zakharova, to be totally precise about. She does have a lovely mom, a really nice mom and dad. Both have degrees, educated people, calm people too. But this is a Russia, and I don't have anything to do with the Russia. It's simple as this. 2017, she created the account. In 2015, I learned for the first time Slovenian police literally had I don't know where it was, if it was already in Moscow. Most likely that was already in Moscow. They were making, before they were making move, they would keep coming to Moscow before they made the move to Moscow. My laptop with them in Russia, basically. I think they did have my laptop in Russia. She absolutely did added herself, or Slovenian police added her to my Facebook profile. That's just the way it is. And here is a man who was involved in this MKultra procedure, Lenny Moreno. He was involved in this MKultra procedure when he was in his grammar school, when he was a kid. Is when he was involved in MKultra procedure. And what he's got to say, I don't agree with it. I gave here, like, I hugged his post, but I don't agree with it because I think that violence is the answer. And I say this because people are completely aware about what they do. They're not stupid, like he is presenting them, like the people aren't aware and education is not appropriate and this and that. People are not fucking stupid. People know exactly what they're doing. They're killing people for the money. I'm never going to forget a Filipino guy who demonstrated me through Robert Golob how he collected the money from Robert Golob. He said, he told me in advance and demonstrated me. This is by far the easiest money to collect. He went on with me to meet Robert Golob, Slovenian police. And he actually told me, I will demonstrate you what that looks like. And he demonstrated me, I don't know how much money he demonstrated me. It was good money, the easiest money there can be. Few hundred euros he demonstrated me. So the money rained to the people from the sky. The easiest money to make, this is the easiest money. This is like, he said to me, it's like the easiest money in life you can make. I don't agree with what Lenny Moreno has to say. I like him on a lot of issues, but just like him, numerous people have degrees, numerous with doctoral degrees, who participated in it and did not participate to solve this. They participated because it was lucrative for them to participate. They participated maybe sometimes also to help with a chance, which I understood not. I don't even understand today what exactly that means, because when you interact with these people, they all claim they don't know you. That's how it is interacting with these people. Everybody claims they don't know you. So I don't know what kind of help this was really. But they would confirm or deny. In Western case, they would not even confirm or deny. They would rather, Western people would prefer, Americans and British and such, they will continue to prefer to lie or remain silent when you ask them about certain questions. They will not even bother to answer. They will not even bother with you, because this is how Central Intelligence Agency, Federal Bureau Investigation, British, Germans, this is how you solve your dilemmas. And I don't know what's going to say to me that they did not know or that they don't know, and etc., etc. When it comes to likes, I was actually tutored, I was actually told, brainwashed. I am not going to say nothing by whom, but I was actually brainwashed that if I'm not going to embrace black people and all kinds of people, Hispanic people and all kinds of people, Asian people, on my likes page, that I should not click the like on that bottom too, because they don't want to look isolated and stuff like this. This is how they brainwashed. That's basically the brainwash procedure. The truth, the fact of the matter, the truth is, these people are completely useless. They don't answer questions, they don't participate, they barely communicate. And so the only thing I do is, I am commercial, I provide free commercial for them. This is what this relation came to. There is no, that's why I started to kick this off my list, because to me, these likes, they're not doing any good to me. I don't need to provide any likes to anybody, really. It doesn't do any good to me. This stuff does nothing for me. It doesn't do anything for me. It provides the free commercial for the participants involved in MKultra, and those, you guys are completely on your own. You are taking care of your own business. You collect the money. That's exactly what I stated here in his video. It is the answer. It's a money. For many, it's a lifeline. It's a cash. It's the way to go. It's a savior. You are killers. You are not comrades. You were not in it to help out. You were in it to fill your pockets. That's the truth. That's the bottom line. Look, they cut me the internet again. Boy, they're desperate. So I have to wait for... There you go, he came back. There you go. Let me play you this video. He is... it bothers me because he is presenting this issue. Like he's using like a black minority, like as if they don't know what they are doing. They know very good. You know very good what the fuck you're doing. You know very good when you murder people. You know very good. You know all too fucking good. If you're out there to help, you would talk to me when I contact you. You don't. Numerous of these blacks that were involved in this genocide don't want to know nothing about. Don't see, know nothing, nothing. You will never talk until the police knocks on your door, scum. That's when you will talk. And that's how one talks to the scum like you. Donald Trump figured out that nobody ever managed to prove anything like this. And I can tell by the way things are going. They just sent a Russian to Slovenia as a new ambassador that was involved in torture, demanded for me to marry her. So they disconnected me again. This is what attacks look like. So I want you to see. So now I'm again connected. I refused to marry her in 2008, turned into an enemy, married a white American, and started the retaliation agenda here against me in Slovenia, teaching me about the beauty of the Slovenia during MKultra. Eventually in 2012, what became my psychiatric hospitalization. Now she came to Slovenia to be American ambassador. Yeah, that's a pretty sick. She is from Kazakhstan, I think, or... Yeah, I don't really care. Kazakhstan, Russian Kazakhstan. So this here, this kind of stuff, this that you wouldn't know about what you're doing, this is like you covering up for yourself, for your own shit. What you depict over there are rather uneducated people, like Black Lives Matter or something like that, aggressive and stuff. But you guys are educated. And I'm not going to say you're not any different. You participated, you observed, you watched, you covered up for the black crime and all sorts of crime. You covered up. You are demonstrating this like from educational perspective, like from the perspective of philosophical. You didn't give a fuck about what is a kidney failure or heart failure, or you didn't care about any of that stuff. You didn't care. After 38 years of torture, bestiality performed on me, you threw me into psychiatric hospital in 2012. And it was based on lifelong unemployment. Man, the circumstances where I survived, how I have to live. Shit I had to do to get by somehow, some way, hiding myself from your aggression. And I couldn't pass by on this political highway of death. That's how you drive now. This is what this political police is. As this guy was talking about, the political police. That's exactly what this is. That's what this is.
Zdaj imamo končno vsak od nas priložnost, da da svoj podpis za referendum proti politični policiji. To bo glas z demokracijo. Slovenija je varna in stabilna država.
Slovenia is a safe country and a stable country. This is going to be a voice for the democracy, he says, against the political police. This is a killer, this guy. This is a little Stalin of this highway of death I was talking about. Nobody ever talked about. That's why this shit has to go to the internet. It has to go to the internet because people are killed. Real people are killed internationally. And somebody has to talk about this stuff. Because you want, other people will not. You continue to see, hear, know nothing about it. And somebody needs to know. Somebody needs to talk about. So, the more people knows about, the more people talk about this shit, about this phenomena. Hijacking people to other countries and killing them like this. Using their ambassadors to United Nations representatives to pressure their own governments, therefore the governments, whatever the victim is from, to justify the killing of such individual because he does not comply, whether that be multiculturalism or whatever that be out there. With people must start to talk about this murderous tool, Central Intelligence Federal Bureau, BND, MI5, MI6, British, murderous tool. People have to talk about this kind of stuff. If people won't talk about it, then nothing ever can be done about it. And so far, it's just as Donald Trump said, nobody ever made it through. Nobody ever got it right through this. He was like, you're dead. We gotta start somewhere. And to start somewhere is to not comply with absolutely anything you guys have to offer. Because you guys have nothing to offer other than death. You murdered me. But for the cost of this, people must understand, people must learn at least what this is. Because the silence must be broken. The lies like this one I'm going to play to you, even it is so luring, attractive, so enticing. The truth must go above this stuff here.
A 17-year-old boy named Austin Metcalf was killed on April 2nd, 2025. A little over a year later, his killer, Carmelo Anthony, was found guilty of murder and sentenced to 35 years in prison. In a nutshell, the victim tapped Carmelo on the shoulder and asked him to leave, and Carmelo pulled out a knife and stabbed him in the heart. Now, because Austin was white and Carmelo is black, this incident created a lot of racial tensions, which is exactly what the system wants. The more we are busy hating each other, the easier it is for the ruling class to advance their agenda. So of course the media will blow it up. We saw angry people supporting the killer outside the courtroom, not because the killer is innocent, but because they feel that murder was the appropriate response based on what happened to their ancestors. But
I hope, I don't even know what the fuck to say about this stuff. I don't even know what the fuck to say about this. But I hope they will come when police knocks on your doors that you will know exactly what I'm talking about, because none of you who are involved in this was out there that would not know stuff I'm talking about. You know, every fucking one of you knows exactly the stuff I'm talking about. None of you was stupid. You were lawyers, you were teachers, you're professors, doctors, physicians, chemists. I think the Lenny is a chemist, really, by profession. I'm not sure. Presidents, prime ministers, Congress people, parliamentarians, from upper class, people of all walks of life. You're not fucking stupid. None of you was stupid. Quite contrary. Were well-trained criminals who knew exactly how these games played, because you didn't play me. I wasn't your first. I might have been your first, but I know I was not your only one. I know there is a highway of death. I know there's a highway of political murder out there through which you kill based on agreements that states make one another. Princess Baha, Bairikitiaba from Thailand, I refer to people like myself as a political prisoners. She was right. I was not right. I just hated the name prisoner. I didn't agree to be a prisoner, because once you start to agree to be a prisoner, right out and open, you don't have a chance to survive. You have to keep fighting back, no matter what. Even when facing a downhill battle against which you have no fucking chance because of such a degree of corruption. But you have to keep fighting. So, you know exactly what you did. Ain't there any difference between the people that we have seen over there and between yourself? When it comes to organized crime, corruption, killing, through political highway, you are using even the homeless people. You are picking homeless people on the street, paying them cash for participation in MKultra. At times. You are paying people who were from poor villages, from a total poverty, through Vietnam, through China, through Africa, through South America, such a poverty like the world have not seen, and gangsters and all kinds of people in it. Yet the goal that you set for me was only one, and that was basically to get me killed before the truth would come out. And the proof of what I stated is that I started to talk about MKultra in 2010, and the only thing you did is you silenced me temporarily. You did relative to psychiatric hospitalization in 2012, and then again in 2015 when you, for the last time, since I didn't stop talking about it, try your luck again. That was Tatiana Prokshar, Slovenian psychiatrist. You tried your luck again, and you couldn't silence me. And so you murder the people. I'm a walking dead human, but I still fight you downhill as I race toward death. And I will until I'm dead, because I want this to be well recorded for the people to understand who you are, what you do. Don't pretend to be innocent. Don't pretend for people to be ignorant, because you're not ignorant. You know, every fucking one of you knows what police officer looks like. Every fucking one of you knows what a jail looks like. Every fucking one of you knows what gun looks like. And you know exactly when you do right and when you kill. In this case, you weren't doing wrong. You murdered collectively, through collective conscience. And that conscience is the one I was talking about in this video. You're not stupid. All of you know exactly what you were doing.
17-year-old boy named Austin Metcalf was killed on April 2, 2025. A little over a year later, his killer, Carmelo Anthony, was found guilty of murder and sentenced to 35 years in prison. In a nutshell, the victim tapped Carmelo on the shoulder and asked him to leave, and Carmelo pulled out a knife and stabbed him in the heart. Now, because Austin was white and Carmelo is black, this incident created a lot of racial tensions, which is exactly what the system wants. The more we are busy hating each other, the easier it is for the ruling class to advance their agenda. So of course the media will blow it up. We saw angry people supporting the killer outside the courtroom, not because the killer is innocent, but because they feel that murder was the appropriate response based on what happened to their ancestors. But blaming race is not the answer. Understanding how we're all being manipulated is the answer. Because we currently live in a system that tells the black community that they've been abused by the white community, that tells them that they need reparations, that tells them that they are the victim. We live in a system that glorifies gangs, violence, drugs, and prostitution in rap music, that tells them it's okay to be angry and rock.
Maybe they do need reparations. I don't fucking know if they need reparations or they don't need reparations. They were, at one stage, they were enslaved. This isn't my problem. This is not my problem. We live in a society that perfectly fits the agenda of both classes. The upper class right at the top and the class right at the bottom.
riot and burn and loot neighborhoods with no repercussions. We have to understand that the people pulling the strings at the top don't identify as black or white or brown.
This is fucking stupid, by the way, this video. This is completely contradictory, stupid video. You're saying that they are looting the neighborhoods without any kind of repercussions, that they burn
tells them it's okay to be angry and riot.
It is okay to be angry and
burn and loot neighborhoods with no repercussions.
But here in the beginning, at the beginning of the video,
in a nutshell, the victim tapped Carmelo on the shoulder and asked him to leave, and Carmelo pulled out a knife and stabbed him in the heart. Now, because Austin was white and Carmelo is black, this incident created a lot of racial tensions, which is exactly what the system wants. The more we are busy hating each other, the easier it is for the ruling class to advance their agenda. So if...
I mean, do you even understand what you said here?
Of course, the media will blow it up. We saw angry people supporting the killer outside the courtroom, not because the killer is innocent, but because they feel that murder was the appropriate response based on what happened to their ancestors. But blaming race is not the answer.
No, blaming race is not the answer. What the fuck is the answer? Let me ask you, Danny Moreno, what the fuck is the answer if it's not blaming the race? United States of America had a different population composition than it has today. How do you think this change of the demographic population composition came? You think it came voluntarily? Eh? I'm not from United States of America. I'm from Slovenia. We don't have multiracial environment here. We never had one. Is for the first time we're having the multiracial environment. Probably it started sometimes upon Slovenian independence or something like that. Through the crime that I spoke about. That's a crime against me. That's why I spoke about the multiculturalism and terrorism is. That's what that is. So, hating one another and this and that, it's not the answer. It's, no? It's not the answer. Organized crime is the answer. The corruption is the answer. Killing people like you killed me is the answer. Do you even know what the fuck you're talking about? I mean, you can talk like this to the people. It's kind of fun, entertaining, and so on. But your answers also are not answers, Danny. I mean, as much as I like you, but your answers are not answers. Multiculturalism is a terrorism. And people do have the right to their race. People do have the right to their ethnicity. People do have the right to exist. You're missing the whole point about absolutely everything.
Understanding how we're all being manipulated is the answer. Because we currently live in a system that tells the black community that they've been abused.
No, mister. We live in the system which is justifying what is known as reverse, the so-called, they call it the so-called reverse discrimination. That's the system we live in. And that's a violent system. The established population is the one that is paying the price for it. And I'm not saying that the blacks don't have the right to reparations. And I'm not saying the black people did not suffer injustice. And they did not suffer in slavery and etc., etc. Do you understand me what I'm talking about? I'm coming from totally different background. Because I'm coming from a different background, that doesn't mean that you in the United States of America have the right to do what an individual. An individual doesn't have anybody in this world and is by himself and is vulnerable. That still doesn't give you the right to do with this individual whatever the fuck you want to do. That doesn't give you the right. You're wrong about absolutely everything. All of you. Did you put into the Constitution the demographics, the population, when you were writing the Constitution? You did not, right? No, you did not. But you made sure that European countries that are not multiracial or even multi-ethnical, would follow your example. That's one thing you did make sure through your U.S. Justice Department of State when you come here. And it's not about your U.S. Justice Department of State. It's also others who do the same thing. Because this is the way to screw the country up. You're not screwing your country only, you're screwing also other countries. And somebody has to tell you about this.
Used by the white community, that tells them that they need reparations, that tells them that they are the victim. We live in a system that glorifies gangs, violence, drugs, and prostitution in rap music, that tells them it's okay to be angry and riot and burn and loot neighborhoods with no repercussions. We have to understand that the people pulling the strings at the top don't identify as black or white.
Oh, yes, they do. They actually mainly identify as a black and white. You can trust me on that. They do. More than anybody else does, they do.
Or brown. They identify as the masters of the universe and they
Yes, they do.
use racial labels to pit us against each other.
Not really. They want you to work one another through exactly what I demonstrated right here.
If we want to see improvement, first we have to understand that.
Black riots, and I was next to Reagan and Nixon and Richard Nixon, Ronald Reagan, all your American presidents, Jimmy Carter's, all of them are extremely lucrative business because it exposes a trouble in a certain society, I should say country, which are afterwards, in the past, they were heavily exploited by the Soviet Union, by the Russians, becomes a model of demonstrating country in a light of injustice. You understand? You Americans were buying basically silence. Blacks learned to take advantage of it. And you were using me to calm blacks. It's like you offer them a piece of bacon, they can do whatever the fuck they want to do, cool their nerves and stuff. Sickness, basically, on somebody whom you portray as white.
And second, schools need to start teaching kids the whole
The kids are too fucking smart these days. Are you kidding?
story, and not just the
It's not the kids. It's not the schools.
version that gets them to hate the other race.
Who the hell is teaching inside of the schools, ways to teach to hate other kids? How many teachers do you have? I mean, we see teachers on day-to-day basis being and thrown out of the school, and you came up with this so-called cancel culture and this kind of issues, which is the police, the way you police Twitter and Facebook and everything, every segment of the society is just enough, a single word, something that you say in a wrong context, and you spend the rest of your life without a job. I mean, we were never, I'm going to say, politically so correct like it is these days going on. Too many people last without jobs for just... People really don't have to do anything. It's the stuff that I stated earlier, the so-called Reverse Discrimination Act that you continue to enforce in the U.S.
And their own country. They need to teach meritocracy instead of DEI. And most importantly, they need to teach kids that violence is never the answer.
Danny, this is just a really beautiful video, but I had to give my 3 minutes to one too. This here is the reality. This is the world we live in.
Ko ustavimo Janeza Janšo. Zdaj imamo končno vsak od nas priložnost, da da svoj podpis za referendum proti politični policiji. To bo glas z demokracijo. Slovenija je varna in stabilna država in taka naj tudi ostane.
This is going to be a voice for the democracy. Slovenia is a safe, stable and safe democracy, and it should stay that way. Right. Right. Slovenians are Alpine Serbs. And you, all of you involved in this, you're not innocent. You know exactly what is right and what is wrong. You're dead wrong about this case, because when you're identified and you presented yourself during MKultra, you had the royals talk about the contract and I don't know what kind of contract and this and that. You don't even fulfill your minimum lies, which you brainwash with during MKultra. And your main purpose in this thing is to kill the victims, not to save them, teach them whatever, blah, 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 blah. It's to do with the victims whatever is the most suitable to you. That's what this is. That's what the world is based upon. And I have to look the bottom society and schools and this and that. You know exactly what you're doing. You know exactly what's right, what's wrong. If I did one wrong, I'd do fucking rotten inside of the jail. They would have killed me 1,000 times. What it means to be a political prisoner. And you do something wrong within the society, you're so fucking dead that it's unprecedented. You're too quickly, too fast, you're dead.
Yeah. Did you see this shit? Would you believe this stuff here?
Couldn't post your comment. Again, couldn't
You'll
post.
take the comments such as disgusting, but will not allow you to post this kind of comments. So guess what I'm going to do is, I'm going to post this, I'm going to place this on my website, we're going to put this on a YouTube so that you can see how they get the statements from the people and what they actually do. They're going to do it like this. That's how the British do it. I've never seen a single channel on a YouTube that would have this type of feature. It says here, Timeless Britain.
Listen, this demonstrates the mental state of greater than Great Britain too. Yeah, it's mentally ill, I would say, based on what you have seen right there.
Let's see how timeless it is.
Yeah.
It's a little bit less timeless right now. I don't like this kind of British hypocrisy.
It is timeless, all right. Yeah, sure.
I knew that that's going to happen. I knew they would do this. The royals were using their military troops, their guards also, and police for the stuff like this. But
For the torture purposes.
you know what? I'm wasting my fucking time with this.
So this is
Let's play this
basically,
thing one more time.
this is how I, as an MKultra victim, should now communicate. I suppose that's the communication that British established with me. That's how we should communicate to one another. That's what it is. So who is more mentally ill, me or you? You called me mentally ill during torture procedures, but what exactly was MKultra used for? Not to communicate in absolutely any way, not even to correspond in any way. Was it?
This here, the black individual, this black racist, was involved in a violence. And you also see black police officers right there in the background. The black cops that you see right there, they engaged in violence too. What you see here is being already rehearsed before. They rehearse that stuff. And when they rehearse that stuff, it's when I'm not going to say have me participate, but
targeted individuals
exercised through MKultra violence. That's a violence. That's an involuntary.
That's a greater than Great Britain.
Hijacking, human trafficking. They commit to obtain psychiatric proofs. Because they need proofs for the psychiatric hospitalization of 2012 and 2015. And since the British royals ran almost this genocide against me, were a major partner of the Russians, Slovenes, I should say. That's how they get their share of evidence against me. That's how that stuff is done. That's MKultra.
This whole thing is MKultra. This all this stuff that you watch. This is MKultra. This should serve as a good impression to you about what MKultra is. By watching this program, you should be learning exactly the people that are targeted, the people that you see, the people that you watch, how they would interact, how you interact with them, how you murder them through the silence. Used basically as a follow-up on a bullying, harassment, intimidation, torture, beatings, poisoning. This is basically the procedure that I'm explaining here, pointing out, that's MKultra. That's MKultra.
is done. That's MKultra.
I want to see this black cop again hiding behind this soldier. Behind this female soldier. Look how seriously he looks. Look how serious he is, and he is trying to create like creating an image of a serious person, image of authority, when he is actually a dung, a piece of shit. A human dung is what it is. And so this is what it is. This is when it comes to greater than Great Britain. This is how people live. Because I know I'm not the only person this have happened to. I'm the most experienced in this stuff, but I'm not the first one. And if people want to start talking about this stuff, definitely won't be the last one. That's what this is. This is like a life in Britain. I would never go to military like this. I would not even. It's what British royals hoped they would establish with what you see here, based on my MKultra memories, was a resentment through my point of view on Britain, against Britain, for my seeing something in Britain that Britain is not, and even was not. It's like exposing your British self to somebody naive from previous Eastern Europe, let's say, occupied by Soviet Union, by the Yugoslavia. That's exactly what this is. This is like exhibitionism of Planet Apes or something like this. It's like, hello, remember when we talked about all those things? It's like promise come true from long way, long distance before that filthy dinosaur that you have sitting over there on a throne in Britain is going to collapse. Or maybe that I will die. It's like a reminder from when I was younger. And in a way, it's like, you see, we told you, which not really. The Slovenian and the Russian side was the one who threatened with this kind of stuff. But what's scary part about it is that you have animals like this sitting on a British throne and using black people for this type of filthy perception about a certain country, about a certain system, and about the black race itself. And I'm not defending black race from this, because it took absolutely no responsibility, accountability for it. It's disgusting. Totally disgusting.
We're going to do this one more time. This is really interesting. Really interesting.
Yeah, I did one more time, and let me see if there's anything else.
Yeah. Well, he did not accept the comment. Tell you what. Actually accepted the comment here.
Hold on a moment. One comment that
absolutely any comment I give. Any kind of comment.
Here is the comment. This is disgusting. Forgot to shave himself and was involved with the black cops you see in torture. Barely they squeezed me this through that I posted this comment, but it would not accept any other comments. So that's
any kind of comment.
That's really poor.
Oh, it.
And what's scary is it's policed literally by the people hiding behind this timeless Britain whichever way they do this, I don't know, but would they read actually when people type messages, or what the fuck is going? What the hell is that stuff?
Actually gave me, and it actually accepted the comment.
Let me just be actually careful with this stuff.
Yeah. Well,
maybe it's a special sign that I used, maybe, that did not allow me to do this. Let me be very careful with this stuff. I didn't notice this stuff. The second time I'm doing this, it's a bit more that I am careful.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Let's try this. And we're gonna put this. No, it's nothing wrong. The comment was actually posted right now on a Facebook with the special signs that you see right there. No, I really haven't done absolutely anything wrong when I did this. I haven't done anything. The only way to do this, the only way to police, the way I demonstrated, the way they block me from commenting so many times, I suppose there's no other way, there's no other excuse than what I demonstrated you here. I don't know how otherwise this will be possible, because the comments, just the way you see it, there's nothing special about these comments, and they just don't allow to post the comments. So how you do this at the Facebook? That also talks about the Western platform known as a Facebook, how it works, how it all communicates. So, sick shit, a lot of sick shit, too much sick shit to talk about. But I will talk about, I will deal with you, I will talk about. Regardless, I will continue to talk about this, and I will continue to complain, and you continue to see nothing, hear nothing, know nothing. You saw this on the Hausa Times, and I really don't give a shit. Multiculturalism is a terrorism, and that's a fact. Multiculturalism is a terrorism. USA equals to USSR. At least in my case it did. I don't care. Nobody talks about, I am talking about. Nobody dares to talk about, I dare to talk about. Obama took his presidency. I took pledge to give you something in return. He took his presidency, a black Hitler took his presidency, and I gave my pledge. Long after he is gone already, I will continue to remind people what you did collectively. Multiculturalism is a terrorism. You're not a land of the brave and free. Cowards. Pedo exhibitionists hiding. Wealthy garbage basically hiding behind all sorts of multi-ethnic, multiracial. Man, even the Epstein files were released. They were not released for people to become aware about what's going on in the public. They were released in completely different purposes. For the war's sake. People who release those files are the people who are involved in those files. And release them after they thoroughly inspected them, edited the truth. Deleted me 15,000 pages on in March actually, on a March 8th or March 6th. Barely returned my blog, I don't know, 3 days ago, whatever. The Hausa Times. And it wasn't they released them for the public to become aware about what's going on. They released them so they could urge themselves, actually force themselves on Iran. After committing already genocide of Gaza, Lebanon, and so on. And you people knew about it. You're not less complex in this. You're all involved in this stuff. So many of you participated in this. You couldn't even solve this thing. And you're going to talk about the fucking Epstein files, etc., etc. Not to me. For what I earlier stated you, it made a totally perfect sense about my laptop in the Russia. I learned that definitely they had a laptop, my laptop, inside of the Russia. I absolutely learned this thing, and it totally makes sense. Simply because she opened the account finally she opened the account in 2017. And in 2017, although I told you, I didn't say to you, in 2015, she said that she's going to do something to, because I asked her, how am I going to know who are you and this and that. It was in the Russia where they had me. But in 2015, she didn't do anything. In 2015, she most likely did not really even have her Facebook account. But she said that she's going to do something. There was a cafe, a shop somewhere in Moscow where she would keep coming. She claimed that she wanted to meet me, and this is the reason that she wanted to immigrate to Moscow. She was involved when she was a baby, basically. Her family was involved before she was born, and mom and her dad. This I should know tremendously a lot about her. And she didn't do anything in 2015. But in 2017, she did something. And most likely she did, I have no idea where she did, whether she did this in a Belarus. Yeah, in 2017 I was in a Belarus. See, in 2017 I was in a Belarus. Either she did this stuff in a Belarus or she did this stuff inside of our home here in Slovenia. But I remember in 2015 that my laptop was in Russia because of her, because it was a cafe, a shop, and she said that she's going to do something. I think that she already had some Facebook stuff, that there were like younger kids like her in that cafe shop where they had me, and it must have been also a police, because they knew about the laptop, about my laptop. So whether the Slovenian police was taking the laptop to Moscow with them, I have no idea. I know that in 2017 they had a perfect ability to do this, either in Belarus through the internet service, through the open internet, or right here inside of our home in Slovenia, where she would also come with the parents. Everybody. Here was 1 million people inside of this house. There were just numerous people who came inside of this house. During MKultra, numerous people came inside of this house. It was just people walking back and forth during MKultra, where they had these Illuminati meetings. All kinds of people from all walks of life. So this directly here, this is directly Maria Zakharova here. Directly. These are good friends of Maria Zakharova. Putin again, basically. This was offered to me like a chance. Like a big Russian chance. Right here. I'm not angry at this. I'm not angry at any of this stuff. This is not the point. The point is that a police was using my laptop, making copies of the hard drives, obviously stealing and passwords, absolutely everything, and was borrowing my stuff literally to the people that were involved, were making them special favors and stuff. Presenting themselves as their assistants, and basically I didn't even exist in this procedure. That's the point. Because I was used basically like like a moho or something like that, for the Slovenian state to advertise basically murder, crime on open, do with the people whatever you please, like a fantasy, basically, like a fantasy land where you can do pretty much past. They created for themselves a country without any borders, like a borderless organized crime country, through where, as part of this elite, you can travel through without being actually subject to the laws, etc., 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 crimes, anything, crime laws or security or domestic, whatever laws that pertain to the rest of the population. And if involved in crime, they always found the easing circumstances for these criminals, these elites. They always find a way to basically pay back the system, which system presented these people as somebody who is on my side, who will support my claim, who are out there to help me out, and etc., etc. Except for 54 years, these systems, in the name of Jesus or in the name of God or whatever you want to call them, or truth and justice or whatever you are, there was no fucking, the only assistance I got are the sirens from the ambulance vehicles, stalking by the police, and organized attacks, basically, that kind of stuff. Assault atop of assault. That's the one I can talk about. I wouldn't talk about other stuff because obviously this is a downhill prepared, about which Robert Golov was talking about, this animal right here. Well, this is a baboon. This is a regular baboon. He doesn't even exist. He doesn't know he exists, actually. He's a nobody. That's what matters. What matters is that you understand really what is going on around the world, really what's happening out there, how things are done, what's going on with the people, how it's the hijacking. I read these comments today about this new ambassador to Slovenia. This is actually hilarious. Somebody wrote about on the video, which I posted on my blog. I posted a video where she is already talking in Slovenian language, and somebody wrote about hijacked.com. Yeah, it's yes, of course it is hijacked.com. Of course it is a hijack.com.
Мое имя Стел Робертс. Част ми е да представлявам Сдружени държави Америки в Словении.
Her husband was involved enormously long time. Well, look at these comments. Look at the comments here. It said over there, ugrabljena.com. Aha, ugrabljena SE. That's basically meaning for a female, hijacked SE. I don't know what that means, but that is if you would hijack somebody. I told you about the hijacking to the Russia, to the Moscow also. to this Serbsky psychiatry was just one location, but they had me on many different psychiatric locations and inside of the prisons and so on, where they had Navalny and all kinds of stuff like this. So I don't know about this, but maybe somebody lost his daughter or something. People are disappearing. Stuff that is going on is unprecedented, and I know the stuff that I talked about on a long run eventually is going to make a sense, because it's a strong testimony about what goes on and who is doing it. I investigated this stuff by myself thoroughly. My goal was to become a police officer in the US. In Slovenia, I wouldn't even touch police job, for obvious reasons. That never came true. But my abilities to investigate these animals do not lack behind best detectives that investigation industry has to offer. Even do not lack even behind animals who ran this procedure as a police officers. All you can do, scum, is you can go and you can testify. No, it's not called testify, it's called a confession. And I know your confession is not going to come out of you voluntarily. I know that it's going to come when you're going to be grabbed by the throats. If it's going to come, it's going to come when you're going to be, you scum are going to be grabbed by the throats and you're going to sink. Otherwise, it's never going to come. It's not a testifying, it's a confession if it's going to come out. The only one who did this stuff, investigated and did the whole thing, is myself, nobody else. Multiculturalism is a genocide. Multiculturalism is not only a terrorism. Multiculturalism is a genocide. It literally is a genocide. It might depend on a society, size of the country, nation. It might depend actually on a lot of factors. But multiculturalism is a genocide. The real word for multiculturalism is a genocide. It's not even a terrorism. This is not to launch the campaign against the multiculturalism. But United Nations failed in this case. And when it comes to United Nations, it doesn't come place more to mind when it comes to multiculturalism than United Nations. I don't care about which part of it, something that went on for no less than 50 years in my case, you did not understood, or you took too lightly, or you did not understood. But you failed. You completely failed to realize your legacy, your pledge to what is known as United Nations. It's very, very important to me. This here, she was teaching me about the beauties of Slovenia. Even when I was thrown into the psychiatric hospital in Ljubljana Polje, and I didn't want to have nothing to do with the Slovenes already in 2010 and 2011. Nothing. I was interested even in talking to her. She started to bring me to the villages of the Slovenes and stuff and blah, 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 blah. And I didn't want to see her and not Slovenes, no nothing anymore in the picture. It passed me over. Americans convinced me that she is okay, this and that. Nothing is okay. None of this stuff is okay. And every one of you knows what the torture is. You all know what killing is, poisoning. None of you is so fucking stupid that would not understand any of that stuff. You know what is required for human to live when it comes to the sleep conditions. And you knew exactly what, in so many examinations that I undergone during MKultra, so many examinations that I have undergone during MKultra in a period of, let's say, 5 years, most of the people do not go through in a lifetime. Because it was almost like physical examination after physical examination. So many I have undergone that is unprecedented. Yet, I'm just saying 5 years. And the case lasted 50 years. I for sure have had at least, what average person have, in my personal opinion, maybe 30 times more physical examinations inside of the hospital than what the average person has. That's how examined I was. That's how much they knew based on the physical examinations about the stuff that went on with me. It was all fucking hospital stuff. Enormously a lot. Especially whenever they screw it up too much, poison me or whatever, and the organs start to fail. If the organ faced failures, and then they hook me up in the hospital. Intraveno. Now, I don't know how you say that. Watering. Giving person liquid. Dialysis and other stuff, whatever the hell they were doing. So much shit I have gone through this. You know, to the last millimeter, and I'm talking about United Nations that were using me and sending me on all kinds of missions also. Wherever there were problems, military problems, together with their United Nations troops and so on. Espionage, they had their own kind of espionage and so on. There is absolutely no excuse for this. No fucking excuse for this stuff. I'm not disappointed to see her, but Joe Biden death threatened me with her, with the use of her. In front of Donald Trump too. Which is bizarre, isn't it? I mean, for somebody like myself. So you continue to say that I never existed, that I don't exist. And you just go, basically, your downhill game as you designed. Knowing that I'm in a really, really bad situation. And also knowing that I will never recognize you as anything else as I stated in this video. I never will. I don't need to. Multiculturalism, let me explain something. This is an outlet here in Slovenia where you can see the Slovenian, in a parenthesis, president. You can see a communist, Nataša Pirc-Musar, showcasing herself over there on a big screen, and presenting Slovenia as through the Slovenian outlets as a democracy, because is visible, she's visibly supporting gay rights. Pride parade, it's called a pride parade. You're talking about the Eastern European communists aligned with the Moscow, with the Belgrade ethnic cleansers. And so you can see how she is hiding her murderous agenda behind the gay rights. Now, I'm not against the gay rights. I'm not against the gay rights. I'm not a homophobe. I'm not against lesbian, gay rights at all. I'm not a homophobe. I support you. I don't see a problem as long as you pay your bills like everybody else, you live according to the laws and everything. It doesn't bother me in absolutely any way. That's just your sexual preference, whatever preference. Nobody's got a right to interfere with. But that doesn't change the fact that she is an ethnic cleanser. She is a genocider. And it also doesn't change the fact that she is using exactly the same kind of issue. And she's not the only one. It's also other politicians who do the same thing. They present dictatorships, worse than dictatorships, concentration camps on open is democracies hiding their ugly heads behind the gay rights and behind the multiculturalism. So if it's a multiculturalism, that means it's a tolerance, right? Because when it comes to multiculturalism, what comes to your mind? Government is promoting through the multiculturalism. They promote the word tolerance, right? Tolerance for different, tolerance for others, right? But that's not necessarily the truth about the system itself. The disappointing part about all this stuff, for me personally, as an individual who was born here, is that Americans who are coming to us, here to Slovenia, whether that be of different ethnicities, racial backgrounds, or gay, lesbian, whatever, would you believe this shit? They would not see themselves in me as individual, ethnic individual from here, or as the person who has the right to his own ethnicity or race or decisions that he makes. These are bigger violations when it comes to ethnicity, race, than when it comes to religion or even sexual orientation. All through, for many of you, those are different factors, but they are. They visibly make change, they visibly affect individual. And with your coming in the system from some other system, and it's in the United States of America a lot like this because of the issues that I mentioned earlier. Maybe even because of the issues also that Lenny Moreno mentioned earlier, Danny Moreno. People from different environments with a different racial, ethnic backgrounds just simply have, I'm not going to say resentment, grudge against the majority of the population where they find themselves in, but they might have resentment toward native population if they find themselves in the white environment, because of variety of reasons, maybe because of even people who go out there and discriminate them. Now the problem is that the United States of America is a big country with 350 million people. It's the strongest single military power in the world. And when you take in consideration the smaller European countries where Russia wants to take over, like on the Balkans through the Serbs, the multiculturalism is a whole different ball game. Because now you have people that are rather align themselves with somebody from the outside, which is characteristic for the multiculturalism anyways, than with the population where they are at. And they naturally do that if they're from Asia, let's say, because of the trading relations with China, with all these Asian countries where they can import for much less, trade here in Slovenia, or even, I would say, politicians that pressure domestic politicians, let's say in Slovenia or whatever other Eastern European country, through investments to offer jobs, better opportunities, and real estate, all kinds of stuff to the newcomers from, let's say, Asia. Or maybe some other countries, doesn't have to be Asia. I've seen this when it comes to Chinese, using Indians, let's say, using political power behind to promote their people throughout the Western Europe, in Slovenia. I've tested this on my own skin. It wasn't pleasant too. That's a multiculturalism. These are two different things, two completely different things. It all depends on a country where you are in. What kind of country you are, what you are, but you can go around the world and give people a peace of mind, telling people how they should live in their countries and this and that, and tell the people that equal rights for everybody because what? Because of what? Because of the clusterfuck that you created back in the United States of America, literally through the slavery, through this kind of issues. And it goes the same in Britain and etc., etc. And then basically go and extort and rape and even push nations in the war through this kind of scumbaggery. Raid them as a Nazis throughout the Eastern Europe, etc., knowing, basically even extorting through the presence of the Russians, through the Russian espionage, when it comes to multiculturalism throughout the Eastern Europe. If you get the people from Africa or Asia, certain countries, they'll even go and espionage for or United States of America. They'll even go and espionage for the Russians. The only one who managed to improve impressions about the multiculturalism in Europe, pertaining to the questions I talk about here, is Donald Trump, because his political party and followers, they actually went traditionally in the bed with the Russians. They have proven that the white can be just as lethal, as dangerous, and insane. I should say British royals, British and all that stuff. Just as fucking crazy as, somebody who has got a historical, let's say, resentment against the system, or based on his color, based on his ethnicity, based on whatever. So, when it comes to multiculturalism, for me personally, it doesn't bother me. I think women are beautiful of all walks and backgrounds. But, the politicians, what they do, and how you people conduct yourself in front of their victims, that makes a whole new animal, a whole new challenge for the people that are natives in those countries. How the hell would you feel if I would go to your country, wherever country would be, let's say, I don't know, let's say I go to Turkey, or let's say I go to Egypt, or I go to Libya, or I go to Nigeria, or I go to, I don't know what country, Congo, and South America, whatever, or I go to China, or I go to, I already know how it went. You would kill me if I would do the stuff to you over there, like the stuff that you have done to me here. You would end up killing me. You would never ever allow stuff like this to go too long, because you remember the white past in your countries. You resent, and you have this sense of solidarity for one another. You support one another. You wouldn't allow that. You would have killed me if I would go and start doing stuff like this. You see? So, the colonial age did indoctrinated you. It gave you a lesson, a good lesson, about how you have to carry yourself as a human being. Well, you see, through your politicians, and foremost through politicians we have in our countries, the whites do not carry themselves as you are, or I should say as you do. We have the stuff that I demonstrated you right here, where you can see individual about whom I've been talking about for the last 40 years. Murderer, assassin, killer, literally. Involved in genocide against me since my earliest age. Apprentice of Milan Kuchan. wanting to collect the petitions against the so-called political police. Multiculturalism is a terrorism, and I'm not saying this because I want to hurt you. I'm saying to you this because in a very different way, somebody's got to say something that was already way overdue. Somebody's got to tell, because this highway of death that goes on with this assembly line, people falling down dead, reshaping, recreating the society based on political ideas. It creates politicians as it creates them as gods. That's the power that British royals traditionally have craved for. This is what they were always searching for. They were always in a search of this kind of unlimited power, that people would tremble for their lives in a slightest finger snap, basically. But demonstrating people what can be done with the people. People don't actually exist. What exists are diplomats, politicians, and etc., etc. The human rights are just written on a paper. United Nations just an institution, a criminal institution that is designated to cover up. We must not permit this to United Nations. We must not permit this to the British royals. We must not permit this to the prime ministers. We must not permit this to the human rights ombudsmans. We must not permit this to European Court for Human Rights. We must not permit this to European Union commissioners for human rights. We must not permit this to the Civil Rights Division. U.S. Justice Department of State, they call themselves a Civil Rights Division. We must not permit this to the so-called equal employment opportunity. We must come to terms about this crime so that this crime can be specified, so this type of crime can be well documented, so the people that this is going to happen to, they have the ability to defend themselves. This is happening to the white people. This isn't happening to anybody else. You can go and you can involve whatever kind of people, but there is no white people in Muslim countries. I shouldn't say this. I shouldn't say white people, but European, American or European people in Muslim countries, or European people in white European people in Asian countries, or white European people in African countries, or you know the drill. You know how it goes. This is basically the way it is. This is why somebody needs to talk about. This issue has been going on for the last 50 years at least. I know. I was born on December 9, 1971, and somebody needs to talk about this stuff. It's not okay. It's not okay. Even if you're hiding yourself behind the gay flag, or you're hiding yourself behind the, I don't know, rainbow multicultural flag, or whatever, in the name of the tolerance, it's not okay to be a murderous swine. A murderous political swine with a murderous political police. It's not okay, Natasha Pirc-Musser. It's not okay, Milan Kucan. That's why I needed this. I needed this for a strong closure. That whatever you're coming from, to whatever country you're coming from, you don't have the right to generalize because of you're being different, because of political atmosphere, because of what you think you would profit from within. It's a criminal act. Crime is crime. It's easy to define one. Every one of you involved in this knows exactly, precisely. And I'm not defending white people from this shit. I'm not defending this from the white people. I'm not excusing white people from this. This is just as corrupt and criminal, even more so. Because the blacks would not allow this to happen to blacks. or when it comes to whites, they do. More corrupt, more criminal. Hanging around you like friends who somehow cannot help you because you don't get along with other races as you are required, ethnicities and religions or whatever, as you are required to. Till you're 100% dead walking man, and then what they do is they throw the cards on you, and they play cards on you, basically, on your casket. I'm not excusing anybody from this shit. When it comes to religious tolerance, you can see what's going on in Gaza. You can see clearly about the stuff that we have going on in Gaza. You can see the stuff that goes on in Lebanon on a daily basis when it comes to religious tolerance. Here, this is what anti-Semitism looks like. You want to talk about anti-Semitism? A lot of people killed every day. That's why I said this kind of stuff, the stuff that you do, this is all karma. Remember when I told you earlier in the video, the shit that you do in some other country, the stuff that you do to somebody. When you do to somebody something, make sure whom you're doing and what you're doing. See what's going on? Jews already murdered 3,800 Lebanese people. This goes on a daily basis. You don't get nothing out of this stuff. Eastern Europe is bleeding. Ukraine is bleeding. The world is on fire. But I swear it started with one person. I am that person. It used to be a very, very quiet age. Silent, peaceful, with people rather taking sides than resolving this case. As many death threats as I got, claims on how I'm dead, and etc., 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 and what this have developed into, this is just unprecedented, with people who threatened becoming along the way even my partners at some stage. You people don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And I'm talking about you people who don't know about this stuff. You who don't know about what's going on in the background of the politics. Non-formal visits, not formal visits, but non-formal visits. You ever thought about the non-formal visits? Formal is wherever you live, wherever you read in mainstream media when it comes to politicians. Non-formal is actually the reality. Reality, you have no fucking clue. I had completely forgotten to take that off. World is a bloody place. And it's all of a sudden, right? It started far away from Europe, but now it's moving to the Europe. It's heavily affecting the Europe already. Every day, on a day-to-day business, Then I had even fucking crazier people involved in MKultra from United States of America or from Britain. Let's say, really, one idiot came even from Germany all the way to Belgrade. I even had fucking crazier motherfuckers involved in this. White people. That German was definitely white. A strong supporter of mine turned to be a strong lover of the Serbs. Literally moved to the Belgrade. Yeah, a very strong supporter, German. Finally, it turned out he was actually in bed with the Serbs completely. Moved to Belgrade. Phenomena of Americans, British, hoping to the Russian military to fight for the Russians. Diabolic shit. The phenomena of which unfortunately mostly pertains to African countries and Asian countries and even South American countries such as Cuba and Venezuela. A phenomena of the white Americans coming to Slovenia and gesturing, basically earning their status, and what became evident as what they attempted to move to establish themselves here as in their new homeland by ridiculing me through lynching process in Slovenia in front of the Slovenes, counter-arguing me through MKultra torture in front of Slovenes on how beautiful it is here, how wonderful it is, and how perfect everything it is, and much better than back at home in America or Britain. So now, these parasites that were introduced in MKultra started to establish the system that engaged in genocide against me, even on behalf of the British and Americans, so that I could resist to the Russians, so that I could resist to the Serbs. Is that fucking weird or is not weird? Is that fucked up or is that not fucked up? That kind of stuff sends you straight to the psychiatric institution because it wrecks you. It makes you a nervous wreck. Here, basically, to promote exactly the stuff I was fighting against. Admiring, basically, stuff that I somehow managed to crush. In 1990s. Earning money, cash. Not through betrayal, let's say, of Slovenia or whatever Eastern European country they moved to promote one. Yeah, they are promoting communists, basically. The Russian Serbian minority that established themselves here, and they are trying to recreate here again Yugoslavia and throughout the Eastern Europe, Russia, Soviet Union. And what they found a way, basically, to sell their services to these communists in a perfect English language as Americans and as a British. That's yet another phenomenon of this multiculturalism, terrorism. Because there is no law that would prohibit them from doing such things. And there is nobody really that would go after them, as it would have been a case if I would do the same thing in America, let's say, or Britain or somewhere. Basically, engaging directly in a terrorism. What other than terrorism? So yeah, that's yet another kind of phenomena. There's so many fucking phenomena when it comes to multiculturalism. If you ask me, for the Europeans, from a small countries, there are no benefits to multiculturalism. This is like placing your own sovereignty on a fucking stick, basically, and saying, I don't want one. That's what that is. That's a multiculturalism for the small European countries. It's different for the bigger systems, for the bigger countries that have well-established military and that are established trading partners, multi-partners from, but when it comes to small countries, positioned right next to the huge enemies like Russia, that's not a good news. And multiculturalism is a fucked up news. You guys think you know everything, knowing that you're no good. You want the world to believe it, that you know everything. And it's everywhere it's the same and it's the same. No, it's not the same. Nothing is the same, and you know you're lying. When you have a politicians like Kamala Harris basically traveling to Belgrade, after, let's say, rejecting her, or whatever female, or whatever individual, for being rejected, that still doesn't mean that you have to become an enemy of that individual. If somebody says no, thank you, no is no. You know exactly what the fuck you do. You know exactly when you do right, and you know exactly when you do wrong. Personally, I'd rather not to have anything to do with the people like this. Because people like this are going to fuck you one way or another. They're in it to fuck you. And the way they fuck you, if the same thing would have happened to them in whatever country then they travel to, these are usually people on the mission. They would have done the same thing to that country. This is the people without character, basically. You want to know what multiculturalism, why multiculturalism is a terrorism, and you basically are watching this shit every fucking day. This news was involved in MKultra brainwash. Rosie O'Donnell, Spielberg hallucinated about Disclosure Day for a very long time. This shit is all based on my case. Anthropic Cuts access to artificial intelligence models was involved in MKultra. They planned on this stuff. Vivek Ramaswamy had me in Ohio. He just borrowed me. This terrorist basically just borrowed me, traveled to Ohio, and yeah, he will become elected based on MKultra brainwash. This is bizarre. However, it was involved in MKultra, the Trump fights at the White House. Yep. I don't care about that stuff. I'm going to demonstrate you what is more concerning to me. Donald Trump did not, Elon Musk did not know for sure that he would be a trillionaire, but he was preparing himself already for the trillionaire news during MKultra. So much of this news that you see about Elon Musk already was prepared during MKultra. Or I should say background talks. This news was involved in MKultra. This here was involved in MKultra. I don't know how they do this. I do not know. May and Mars euphoria as the New York celebrates the Knicks' first NBA title in 53 years. How they do this stuff, I have no fucking clue. This was involved in MKultra, and I was even told that the news like this is being used to drag the rest of the country into multiculturalism. So the games, because I couldn't understand this shit. I was in extremely bad shape. At this point in time, I was in about the same shape as I am right now. The food, my shape, my state, the way I am, it's coordinated through MKultra, based on MKultra. Mother just supplied me with some more poison, but this whole situation of mine extremely deteriorated during the last few months. This is concerning, this stuff here. This euphoria. A celebrity spot as a Knicks title winning game. Because your life is twisted around the fucking game. This was my objection to this type of stuff. This was involved in MKultra. The New York Knicks, first NBA title, 53 years, involved in MKultra. How they pulled this stuff, I don't know. I did not watch the game, but it was involved in MKultra. So they must have not pulled this stuff across the night. They were building this stuff for quite some time, and eventually it came out like this. I think it's concerning when you see what appears to be important to the New York. It was said that New York is not even part of the United States of America, that it is a completely separate state. City, not entire state. Don't know anything about this one. This was involved in MKultra. This was how Rosie O'Donnell had a blast claiming that I'm going to be thrown into the jail. That I will be so nice to the mama again. And why was this so important to them? It was extremely important to them because they were using my mother for extermination procedure against me. Multiculturalism matters. Multiculturalism is a genocide. Multiculturalism is a terrorism. And it's more than anything, it's a murderous tool. This clown, what is he, from India or from where? This clown already was elected as whatever. Oh, he was born in Cincinnati, Ohio. Now, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, we just got ambassador here to Slovenia, as I pointed out. She's from Kazakhstan. These are jobs, basically, that... I don't know if that's what you want to do. I have no fucking idea if that's what you want to do, if this is the direction that you want to take as a country, as a nation. But you're not going to be respected much as such. You're going to become like a commodity, that a desired commodity, basically. You're going to have Chinese, Indians, Russians already jumping all over your lives, making your America a hell place, grabbing jobs away from you, extorting you. You're going to see more poor people, white poor people, homeless. You're going to see a total depreciation for the country, for something, for the value, for values based upon which United States of America was created. That's what you're going to see. You're going to see a total fuck up. This direction where you're going, Chinese, Indians, Asians in general, South Americans, everybody's not going to have any kind of respect for you. That's where the whole thing is going. The whole thing is going down the toilet through American president, the so-called pro-white American president, who opened a lot of questions like the one in South Africa. A lot of questions like the one on the Middle East through Iran. More than anything, through extermination procedure of Palestinian people Gazan people, Lebanese people, but who answered no questions whatsoever, turned Ukraine literally into a hellhole that might actually even be deleted from the face of the earth, if not sold to the Russians already. It's a president that opened a lot of questions. There is genocide going on against white people in South Africa, for sure. He answered no question whatsoever. He opened refugee visas and created an image, a shit image out of the United States of America, like beyond belief, like unprecedented. And what you see here is taking a political spots. What you see here, and you're seeing invasion on United States of America from the third world, is the price that you Americans have to pay in return for Gaza extermination procedure, in return for Palestine extermination procedure. That's the price you're paying. Yes, because if you want to continue to advertise America as a piece of democracy, freedom pie, then you have to import Asians, blacks, Russians, Chinese, I should say, when I say Asians, Chinese, Africans, South Americans, etc., 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 etc. You're paying the price for your American president and for his presidency, much higher price than what you would give credit for. And the only thing that's happening to you is each time you're losing more and more. Every time it's less and less that is left out of the United States of America. It's exactly what I was doing in a different. What I was doing, wherever I was dispatched around the world, I blew the value on you. Even when it came to the prostitution, the white females got paid several times more than the females of other ethnic, racial backgrounds. I was a value. I represented a value to United States of America. What you have going on now with your neon king, Donald Trump, that's a totally different story. Your country is going to hell, to bits. Nothing comes easy. Nothing good comes easy. And what you're doing is you're fighting the battle up. My uphill battle, you're fighting with a total downhill battle. You're battling one with use of the president that gave the reason to the blacks, to minorities in the United States of America for the protests through his racist, idiotic behavior. That's exactly what you're doing. That's your American president. And what you see here, that's your future. To be completely precise about multiculturalism, what I feel toward multiculturalism, then in that case, you need to read this post. This is for the end of this. My father was murdered on May 4, 2026. All you need to do now is you need to read this here. Multiculturalism is a genocide. Multiculturalism is a terrorism. It is insensitive. It is exactly as it is described on this page here. I'm not going to talk anymore. You may want to use a pause button as I scroll down, stop the video, read over, and then click play, and again pause button, whatever it is, and so on. If you do want to learn about murder of my father, or how the police murdered my father, then what you gotta do is you watch this video. This is the way it's titled. And then what you do is you watch video. It's a state of the art. It was created 4 days after the death of my father with the prior video recordings. It was exactly as it took place. As everything I stated on my website is 100% legitimate. It is true. Everything I stated on my website are facts. Everything is a fact. There is no lies. It's exactly the way it was. I'm gonna scroll this one more time, but this would be the video basically that you would watch. It's exactly what this is. That's how it is. Multiculturalism is extermination procedure. It's a terrorism. It's a tool. It's a political tool. And it's a genocide procedure. United Nations are genocide. International Criminal Court is genocide. Your genocide, your organizations, everything. It's a genocide. Hollywood is a epicenter. I don't know how to say, a pit, a hall of this organized crime. I don't care, yo, what you're gonna say about me. What do you think about me? How you view this, how you pursue this is. But this is the way it is. This is who you are. This is what you are. You're a bad news. You're a shit news. You're rocketeers. You're blackmailers and you're terrorists. Murderers is what you are.